give you a bigger crime or bigger charge. And for each one of the things that they had done, some of them were political, some things was because of their sexual orientation, it would have been a death sentence no matter what. So the committee agreed, and actually had one of the fastest turnarounds that's ever happened. In 5 days, the fellow had his response, and then the transgender person received theirs in the normal 21 days. So it really benefits. So I find very emotionally intense sometimes that you're saving someone's life, that the theocracy, that the way in how people want to challenge or want to control people's bodies, that you've set them free from that, and now they can live their lives, at least start over again, and to try to live their lives, or can succeed in living their lives in a way that otherwise they would not be able to do so. So, how much time do we need? Almost 7? Okay. So basically, I'll finish up. One of the things that I talk about quite often is understanding the Quran in such a way that has a progressive, inclusive concept to it. And one of the things that I have learned through reading the Quran, I read the Quran the first time the way that everyone's supposed to read it. You open up from Al-Fatiha, the name of the book, and read through it. That particular way starts you off with a legalistic framework, and then the spiritual development part is at the end. I did some research and talked to a couple of professors and studied the Quran the way that it came to Prophet Muhammad. Total different understanding. Because it starts with the spiritual development, many of the verses that are in the back, that helped develop the nascent Muslim community that was in Mecca to become strong enough within their will and their personal power and relationship with God, so that they could stand and up to those particular pressures. The Quraysh were the mainstays. And for 13 years, they had to deal with this particular problem. Then, at that point, the Prophet was able to send a number of his members of the community to Abyssinia, under the Christian king there for safety. And they went there. And then the Prophet went to Medina to fulfill his to develop the city-state for the Muslim community there, which was inclusive of Jews, Christians, and pagans. And Muslims came in. So it gives us a very clear history of what Islam is about and how it developed. And so I was at a discussion not long ago. I'll come back to this part because it's an important part I want to put in there, but a discussion of the day. The Quran is referred to as El-Kitab. And quite often in my understanding of Arabic, El-Kitab means the book, which has a reference to it that people understand. But when you go back to a much earlier understanding of it, El-Kitab has the meaning of dialogue. And if you understand the Quran more directly, it's a dialogue between God and the people, the Muslim people. A back and forth dialogue, because many times the dialogues came about because certain issues came up and Allah sent them a message. This is what you need to tell those folks. This is what you need to have. Well, Muhammad, if you're so good, show us some magic and stuff. Allah says, you don't need to show me. You're a messenger, you just need to give me a message. That guy said it was a dialogue. So El-Kitab meant a dialogue between people. And so this is very important to help people understand that the Quran is not just a two-dimensional letters on a page, but that it has depth. And its depth is so broad and very deep, because that's the only way, as I understand the Quran, where it can meet this particular promise, that it is a message for all of human time, all of human time. Sometimes in discussions I'll ask people this, well, you know, we're space travel and stuff. 100 years from now, we may have actually colonies on planets and they work and stuff. And I'm certain Muslims will be there as well. So let me ask you a question: which way is Mecca? I was like, I don't know either, but I'm certain that when the people are there, they'll have an answer for it. You know? And so those are some of the important things that are there. But I want to go back to one historical aspect in terms of Islam, and people, Muslims in particular, I hope are thinking about this, is that as Muslims have moved into other parts of the world and left the Middle East and Northern Africa, that the time of the Prophet, when the people left and went to Abyssinia, it's like people, Muslims coming to the West. A different religious system, a different legal system, and those to the point that a number of the people who went there didn't go to Medina. They stayed in that city. Very important point. So, and then some of them left and then went to Medina. So it means that there are three stages. The very beginning stage, which is the spiritual development. The second stage, that you can live under systems that are not Islamic, under Sharia, and still thrive as Muslims. And then you can go into a theocracy where Sharia is the rule, and Muslims can thrive in all three of them. So it's a very different situation, and many times people don't teach these particular lessons. So I want to say that we'll close it up. I just want to stop at 7 line. Is that right? Okay. So the thing is that I think that people need to pick up their Qurans and read them a different way. If you can get the information, read the Quran the way in which it came down to the Prophet. I think it'll be very enlightening for you. And I want to say that we listen to other and talk to other scholars who differ in opinions. It's not, too often, Islam is set up as this pristine, absolute faith system, and it's not. If you're very aware of Islamic history, it's not a pretty picture, just like Christian and Judaic history are not pretty pictures. So if you're aware of the history, you'll know that part of the aspect is that is the development of the theological aspect, but then usually right after the prophet dies, or a short time thereafter, government, power control, we want the money, we want to do this, we want to do it, empire building develops. And we have to be very aware that that's human nature. And so in understanding that the Quranic message came to all of humankind for all of human time, we have to step back from the pristine development, this seamless, as in Christianity, the seamless road, so to speak, and that's not accurate. And that it's a nice thing to entice people, but it's not the truth. And for us to step back and understand that throughout the development of faith, that it's part of your faith that makes it so. In order to make your faith strong, it has to be part of knowledge of the real history. Because if you know the real truth, then your faith is stronger. So I'll leave you with that, and then you have to continue.